right, you're welcome back to the press. And just in case I need to remind someone or to tell those who are just joining us, my name is Dayo Omoogun. You are on to the press, coming to you from King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television, which we make into a short form, KAFTAN TV. And right now, joining me in the studio is my guest, Ben Agunloye. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. And so, from this point, we go to the papers, the headlines that we took a look at a while ago. And the major headline has to do with the endorsement of TINUBU as sole candidate for the APC in the upcoming, in the 2027 elections. And that will be our major discussion. Maybe we could take a few others to just flesh it out, but we'll center most of the discussion on that. And so, sole candidacy as early as 2025 for an election that is scheduled, that is going to hold in 2027. Is that not too early?
Well, I don't think it's too early, and I will explain that. Candidacy and primary elections are more of politics.
Of course.
The government is already in power.
Yeah.
They need to spend more time on governance.
Are they doing that now?
So, basically, there are enough distractions around. And what we have had in practice is you spend the last 1.5 years of your first term pursuing politics of candidacy for re-election and the rest of that. But I think that the party is trying to perhaps strategize and say, look, on the politics of candidacy, let's lay it to rest.
All right.
So that we know we are focusing on the election, and the election is going to be, it's not about the party, it's about the people. So if you are going to win election, you need to prove yourself in the place of governance.
All right.
So I think trying to settle the matters of politics early, separating politics from governance, should give them more time to focus on governance and to get results.
How do you think that this is effective? Because we're talking only about one person, about only one office, the office of the president, maybe president and his vice, at most two persons. If you're talking about getting ready for 2027, there are several offices, there are several persons who have interest in several positions, and how does that extend to them?
No, that should not extend to them automatically.
It does not extend to them. So how does that take away the tension, what you just said, the tension that accompanies, the distraction that accompanies politicking for?
Basically, the president is not distracted.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And the party is built at the moment around the president, in my opinion, and the way that is visible to all. So if that be the case, therefore, and the president is, we are focused on re-election, it is the people that will elect us. Now, these are the mandates for each of the ministries. These are the things you should focus on. So a minister that decides to focus on how to become a minister, or how to become a governor, or how to become a senator, should be ready to leave that seat.
All right.
That's the basic thing. So you've put the matters right. The focus right now is, if the press, that is already settled. We know whether the opposition or anybody says it. The next election is between the president and the masses, not between the president and anybody.
That's what they're saying. That's what the party is saying.
Not just what they are saying. That is the reality. If the president is able to prove to the masses that he has them at hand and deliver results, any other candidate is wasting their time, because you can't give me what I already have. I don't know if you get that. Yeah. So if the president is able to deliver on his promises.
No, if you can't give me what I already have, what if I get someone to give me much more than what I already have?
Well, you need to, now we say a bird in hand is worth 10 in the bush. Your promise, if what I need is what I have, the promise you are giving me is actually not too useful. There is this story.
Needs never end.
There is this story. No, want never ends. Needs are specific. There is this story about a man who they say was retired. That's an MBA. I think it was called strategy. It's one of the strategy class. And the old man was seated. He was catching fish on the bank of the river. And somebody was like, why is it that you just catch these few fishes every day? An MBA graduate trying to teach the old man business. He says, so why don't you catch more? And then you can even buy a boat. You can employ people to man the boat. And the man said, after that, what would happen? He said, oh, you still buy more boat when you catch more fish. And then you buy more trolley. Okay. And the guy said, okay, after the trolley, what happens? You make more money. You become this. You merchandise this. Okay, what next? And then you can retire and be making money from there and be playing with your grandchildren. The man said, look, where I am right now is I come to do fun, catching fish, and go back home to play with my grandchildren. So why do I need to go through your 5 years journey again to get back to doing what I am already doing? So if the president can get us to where we think we should be on power, if he can get things done in the area of diversification, if there can be poverty reduction, if people can get job, if agriculture begins to work, if the environment becomes more safe, if the infrastructure facilities are put in place, and the masses can see it, that okay, this person promised to do this and he has done it. As it is today with NEL Fund, I will say that whatever was promised had been delivered, and students are tapping into it and they are getting the result. So for those who are possibly have that as one of their goal, I'm not sure in the immediate what you want to offer them that it's better. If we come to roads, a lot of roads are under construction. Some are promised quick delivery. If those roads are delivered, and somebody that used to be in the bush and cannot sell his plantain in the south can now come to the corridor of the coastal highway and do his business, there is little to the promise that you can make. All
right. Let's even agree that this eventually become a reality. That we'll get better roads, that farmers are able to bring their goods to the market, that security is better, that schools function better, have better facilities, better laboratories, workshops, and all that. Now, but that's not our reality right now.
Yes.
So why would the party put the cart before the horse? Why would the party not wait till some of these realities are largely, substantially realized before handing that ticket to
you don't wait until you get to your destination before you pay for air ticket.
That's correct.
Sometimes you pay for the ticket a year ahead.
Yes, but the analogies don't. You
pay for the ticket a year ahead. Yes. So you are not even sure yet. So in the same way, there are people who have been with the president. The president is with them. Right now he's the driver on the seat for them.
Yes.
So rather than distract him therefore with the issue of we need to pacify these people, we need to do that, what they are trying to do is, look, for 2027 as a party, we're getting away with the issue of politics around the seat of the presidential candidate. Of course, the opposition party are also not resting. You would expect that the opposition party will be given alternatives, and in the states where they have control, they should be outperforming the ruling party states, so that people will know that okay, these are credible alternatives. But the practical reality is they are busy in nocturnal meeting, secret and open, manipulating and discussing who becomes the candidates, who becomes this, who becomes that. So on ground, it's been more of politics of we need to get the president out. Like I would always ask in those days when we were not
right now.
No, get him out by 2027. And that's
which parties are doing this?
Well,
I don't see any
even yesterday morning you saw the news headline of some people say we'll move to ADC with this. But the talk around the opposition had always been, by 2027, we want to send TINUBU back to wherever he came
yes,
from.
But it's been more of a storm in a teacup. It's little, I mean...
But they are working towards it. They are working towards it. And so as the ruling party, they can also not keep quiet if you see people moving in that direction. And to give them a more clear direction is to say, this is our candidate, right? It's a case of this, that or your song, Romo Abi. So go and bring your own child and let's get on the stage. But for us, this is who we are sticking with. So in your manipulation and in your calculation, get a candidate that is better than this. Right. If you can get a better candidate, know that even before the election comes.
No, the truth is, before you even talk about getting another candidate from another party, what does that do to those who would have been interested in taking a shot at the presidency in the APC? And don't think that there are no such persons. Yeah. Because there are people who even just want to test their popularity with TINUBU. They want to see the figures they would be able to get. For example, over 100, if TINUBU will get 80 and it's 20 that they get, they want to it will do something to their CV. They put it there that I ran with this guy and this is what I got, and it might be a good standing for the next time after. So what does that do to the internal the party internally? Well,
when you come to me, you know my position on the political system. I would always insist that we are a parliamentary people. We have a parliamentary culture, and because that is who we are, and because that is where we are coming from, you actually know that when you are the leader, until you step down or we have reason to remove you, another prime minister or another leader of the party cannot arise. We are primarily a parliamentary people. So if you want to test your popularity, it is to stand out there, right, in another party and test it.
Very good. So what you're saying is that this particular decision, this decision by a large number of the APC stalwarts, is likely to precipitate a situation where some aggrieved members, some people who think that the door has been slammed in their face, would want to move over to another party.
Yeah, and the time is early enough, the time is ripe enough for them to take that decision.
Do you remember Jonathan in 2014?
Yeah.
When 5 governors moved out?
Yes.
Okay, and they felt that 5 governors, so what? But at the end, what did he do? It was part of the major reason why that election was lost by PDP.
Yes.
Right. So if you begin to trifle with people, if you begin to think them of little or no effect, of little or no, I mean, that they are paperweights, they have nothing to contribute, we can do without them, we have a situation where you might just be digging slowly, it might be slowly, but you might be digging consistently the grave of your outfit. Have we not seen that?
You see, the case with PDP was trying to eat their cake and have it.
How do you mean?
Those decisions and those actions happen too close to the election. You have allowed people to nurse ambition to do this. The debate as to in the election, running to the 2011 election, President Obasanjo was the former President Obasanjo was the BOT chairman at the time, clearly stated that Jonathan had accepted to be a one-term president. If you remember, in the convention where he was picked to run the 2011 election, that statement was there. Now that statement was never clarified thereafter. And so when the issue of you will run on they kept those things, in my opinion, too late. They were trying to eat their cake and have it. Take your decision early enough, resolve the politics of it, right?
Which is what you think is being done.
Yeah, and manage the consequence. Those who want to leave are free to leave from now. You won't wait till 2026 December and now say, oh, they are not giving me opportunity to do this. and then you are creating
26 December. Was it that close?
Yeah. 2026 December is close. We are in 2025.
Yes, 26 December will mean that you are about 3 months or 4 months into the election.
That's when primaries will be held. You now say, oh, they did not allow me. The primary was not free and fair. There was no internal democracy. At this moment, the party has said, this is the way we are going. If you are aligned, you stay. If you are not aligning, you have enough time to live and settle down in a new place. I think the time is even still enough to form a new party entirely.
All right. Okay, now let's look at the wisdom or whatever it is that informed the decision. Would you say that TINUBU is doing spectacularly well for him to get this nod from the people, from his people? I mean, not the people. Please, let's differentiate between the people and his people.
Yeah.
Well,
in the eyes of the party,
his people,
which are his people, they think that they can align with the vision. Now, when you are the owner of the vision and the vision is shared, people who share the vision can see the end from the beginning. Those who are recipients of the vision, of the activities of the vision, we can only see the stage where they are now. When you see a house at foundation and you have not seen, the architects know the plan and knows that this building is going 25 stories or this building is going to be a bungalow. But for somebody who comes around, you see them doing the foundation 3 months, 6 months. As far as you are concerned, why are they wasting resources and time sitting here? But for the architect, for the building engineer, and for those who were involved in the design, they know where the building is going and what the final stage will be. So their enthusiasm about the building is not going to be the same with my enthusiasm as somebody who lives in the neighborhood, who is just passing, who had never seen.
In this case, it's not about a person who lives in the neighborhood who is just taking a view. It's about people who are affected by that.
Yes,
by that building. People whose livelihood.
If you live in the neighborhood, and they keep bringing trucks every now and then, it affects the road. It affects your free movement. So that's what I'm saying, that because you are in the neighborhood, you are feeling the negative impact of that activity or positive impact of the activity, because it can affect you in any way. But what I'm saying is, you cannot tell what the final status of the building will be and what role the building will begin to, how the building will affect you when the building is completed. So for those in the party, they possibly share the president's vision, and so they can see more of where he's going than the rest of us. And that might also inform their reason to say, look, let's settle this political matter once and for all, so that we can focus on delivering on the vision, so that the people who will end up being the beneficiary will feel the positive impact and will be able to return APC to power in 2027. They are saying the president will continue. The people can say the president will not continue. So I see them as, they believe the president have the capacity to help them deliver the goods to the people that will convince the people to retain the party. Because take note that it's not about any special law for the president as far as these guys are concerned. It is for the party to remain in power.
Or maybe it's for the party to remain in power, and maybe it also provides opportunity for bread and butter for them.
And that's why I said opportunity for bread and butter is that the party remains in power.
Yeah,
if the party is out of power, they will lose a lot of things to a large extent.
True.
They will lose patronage, they will lose their support, they will lose a lot of things. They know that. And so if they are thinking, oh, this is our striker, let's keep him there. They definitely now know that going forward,
this is our striker, let's keep him there.
So you have to supply the ball.
A winning team.
Yeah, you don't change somebody that you think. I've told you before that I've seen a game where I felt somebody wasn't doing well. I was sitting next to the coach, and the guy was like, hey, that guy is a 120-minute player. That's why when everybody gets tired, you will see him perform. And in the last 20 minutes of the game, he got him 3 goals, and that was sufficient for the coach to win the match. He knows the player more than the rest of us.
All right, so there you have it from Ben. Now let's go a little bit further. There's this dimension of endorsements even cutting across the party. Endorsements from, for example, Anambra State,
opposition parties,
endorsement from opposition parties, not the parties wholly,
really. But candidates or office holders from opposition parties.
Yes, and then you have Governor Eno already saying to his people, if you're not coming with me, you can resign. And then you have the wholesale transfer of
that happened in Delta,
and all that. Now, let's dig a little bit about that. Are you saying is it the spectacular performance of the president that is provoking all this?
Well, there is a unique trajectory that we need to look at. Now, for the PDP, that was a government that was here for 16 years. There were projects Obasanjo started that Yar'Adua did not continue. There were projects Yar'Adua started that Jonathan did not continue.
Yeah, we have always had the...
Fine. But you have a situation where when Buhari came, which has been the tradition of the APC, so to say, more at the center, that any ongoing project, we will not terminate their contract. We will see them to completion. You listen to the Minister of FCT presenting his budget, and people talking about, why are you spending so much on it? He said a lot of these projects are ongoing. Some had been signed 2010, some were signed 2012, some were signed 2016. But
before he
came. But there is a commitment from the government at the center to say, look, let's depart from abandoning projects from previous government. Let the governance be a continuum. Let these projects be completed. So I tell you, if I were a PDP person and I saw the things that transpired in the 3 successive presidents and even with some of the past governors from the party, I will, if I'm in the coastal area, I will support President TINUBU.
And that why? And that wouldn't, in your dictionary, in your understanding, it will not amount to betrayal. It will not amount to...
It doesn't amount to betrayal.
It will amount to betrayal of the trust that people who supported you, partly because of the PDP, partly because of the vehicle that with which you got power. You don't think that
for me it doesn't go to betrayal, because I may actually not leave the party. My people will not decamp. But we are only, however, going to say that, look, this guy at the center has started this project that will benefit us. Let's support him to ensure that the project is completed.
So you'd rather be a number type.
So on one part, that is a case that should pull through. But of course, when you now go by hindsight, there is also the fear of some people as to the governors of AD in 2003. Build up to the 2003 election, AD as a party refused. The governor said they were not going to fund any presidential candidate. So if you have your money and you want to contest, if you come, we will give you the platform. But we will not spend our money to support or campaign for you. On that ground, the party did not have a presidential candidate. And of course, the smart guys in the house adjusted the order of election and ensured that the governorship election and the presidential election was the same day. So apart from Lagos, the other governors, AD governors, lost the election, some of them by landslide, to the PDP. So I think that some of the governors who have looked at that history would have had that feeling that if at the time any of the governors had actually chosen to align with the party at the center, they would have retained their seat.
Right?
So that could then inform some of those out of self-preservation trying to like, okay, if we think he is good and we want him to continue at the center, why don't we as a people align with the philosophies of his party and continue the good work?
All right, now maybe this might just be the last poser on that particular one, and thereafter, very shortly, I'll open the phone lines for you, because I know that many of you are raring to go. Many of you would really want to weigh in and let your own opinions also be heard. That we will do very shortly. Now, since it looks as though it's it's a done deal, as it were, for I mean, quote and unquote, and with due respect to other players. Now, what if you were an opposition candidate?
Yeah.
What will you be selling to Nigerians right now?
Well, basically, I don't have business with APC as a party. If I were an opposition candidate,
I'm saying you want.
I have a business with the people, and that is to let the people know where are we on infrastructure.
Good.
Where are we on diversification from oil to other sector? Where are we on security? Where are we on food security? Where are we with housing? Where are we with power? Those indices affect everybody. And so if those things are not done, if the roads are not better, if the power is not improving and it's not diversifying, like we're saying, as far as I'm concerned, the TCN and the national grid have become a drain pipe. So there has to be mini grid, there has to be off grid, and the National Rural Electrification Agency is meant to run that. So if they are able to run that in a number of more places, and the barbers and the artisans and several people can sustainably run their job, there's no reason we shouldn't have solar coal room. Regional, state, senatorial district, they should be there and be powered by alternative energies, not by the TCN. So if all that are not improving, that's what you need to sell to the people, to let them know we can make your life better this way with power. We can do this to your road that will make it last. This is what should happen to accommodation and transportation. This is a nation that has abundance of lithium, so it means we can run electric cars. We don't have to necessarily eat what we sell. So if at the moment petrol is what we sell, let's sell it. Then let's consume gas, let's consume electricity,
and let's plow back some of it.
So let's plow back some of those resources. And when you make the people in FCT, in Kaduna, in Nasarawa, and in other places where this lithium is, this is the roadmap. This is what we can do to engage in the production of batteries. Even before we begin to export, this is the reliability, this is the results we will get locally, this is the mileage you can get, this is the employment that can be created, this is the tax that can come to the state, this is how it will impact the local environment. People are going to come and rent your houses that goats are living in, and the rest of that. So you need to focus on the people and tell them not about the PDP, or not about the APC, but about what the alternatives you are bringing on the table, that you can bring on the table, and that the people can check and be sure that of a truth, our life can be better. But like I said, if the APC is smart, those are the solutions they should also begin to provide in the immediate. All right. Which will then tell the people, we are already where you say you want to take us.
Well, okay. Now, so let's do this. Maybe let's open the phone line now, and 08029938365 is the number. I'll take that again. 08029938365. Now, let's talk about, there are two other very interesting headlines. There's the one, Adebayo of the SDP says, that is Prince Adebayo.
Yeah.
Adewale Adebayo.
Presidential candidate for SDP.
Yes. Says that SDP, let me take it exactly how it is here. It says SDP, SDP's Adebayo rejects Atiku, may step down for Obi. That's a very interesting one. And you also have the FG files criminal charges against Natasha. If we're able to do those two before time runs out, in addition to the phone calls, let's see how we can run that. And so the phone lines are open now, and you can call in. When I say I need to mind my singular and plural. And so the phone line is open now. 08029938365 is the number. Please do call in and let's have you weigh in. In fact, there's one already. Hello? Oh no. Okay. Please do call back. The phone line is open. Please do call back. All right. There's a problem. I guess there's a problem. There was a call just now again, and we lost it again. Now, for
Natasha, let's start. For Natasha, that's brief.
Okay.
He has made, what the court is saying is, or what the charge is saying is, he has made allegation that people had meetings, right, to the extent that they were planning your assassination, and making that against the number.
Please, let's allow this. Hello. Are you there? All right, go on, please.
So you are making, these are important dignitaries of this nation. The Senate president, for instance, represents an arm of the government.
Go a little bit back. I missed the part of
what I'm saying is, the allegation is simple.
Yeah.
You have accused the Senate president and a former governor of being in a plan to have you assassinated.
Okay. All right.
Now, what they is simply saying is, move into the dock and prove the allegation, because that would amount to criminal defamation. It's criminal defamation. That's what that statement she had made publicly represents. So she needs to get to court and prove that, okay, I have evidence that this actually happened. And if it does not happen, then he answers for it. But I think what they have tried, what the system are trying to do in that case is very simple. Let's not just leave everything flying at the realm of rumor and hanging there. Let's have some of these things tested under the law and dealt with once and for all. So if you are able to prove that, oh, they did, then another level of investigation will open, and those who should be held accountable will be held. But if you cannot prove that it actually happened, then you should answer to your talk. It's as simple as that. So it's not a complex matter. It's not about philosophy. It's not about psychology. It's about facts.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll leave that. So we can make progress into the news about Prince Adebayo saying, there's no space for Atiku.
Well, I think I've heard him somewhere and I followed up some of his discussion. What he's saying is very simple, and that is that, I do not agree that the sitting president is doing well. So we need an alternative.
First.
That is the first thing that you can pick out of his statement, and that's very clear. Next will also be that he wants us to also feel that, look, my party is ready to take the challenge to the very end. And of course, further, he is saying, look, we can decide or agree to work with any credible candidate. And he has expressed his personal interest in the candidacy of Peter Obi.
Hold it there. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I can can hear you. I just started watching now. Please, what's the head of the discussion?
But you will need to call back. Just listen, please. It's about the current point we are is the former presidential candidate of the SDP saying that Atiku cannot get the ticket of his party, and that he is willing, he might be willing to step down for a more credible candidate that is more credible than Atiku, not himself, that he might be willing to step down for Peter Obi in his party. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. But before then, we were talking about the sole candidacy that has been promised President TINUBU by the APC, and we're looking at several angles of that. Yeah, please, let's go.
Yeah, so basically that's what he's trying to say. Now my party is working, my party is ready, we are a beautiful bride, we have structure, and we are able to align. And of course he is alluding to the fact that there are other parties with structures on ground who are planning to work together to ensure that the president is unseated. And of course he's also looking at the fact that, look, we cannot continue with an Atiku. Basically, he hadn't given other reasons why that should be. But I used to remember that back in the days there was an headline. I think it was Governor Buni, his successor. There was that trial why Governor Buni should be allowed. No, not Buni.
Which successor?
Boni Haruna. Boni Haruna. That was his deputy that has to take over his place. Now what the court said was very clear, that the ways and manner in which Atiku walked away from the governorship, because I don't think he resigned. He was elected governor, he had not been sworn in, then he became vice president. And so Buni had to step in. For them to argue, Boni Haruna had to step in. For them to argue the case for Boni Haruna, the judge concluded that, look, the way in which Atiku left, tantamount to have died politically. That was in 1999-2000. And so on that ground, his deputy can take the position. And if he goes back and check it, from that 1999 till now, or from that 2000 till now, has he actually personally won any election with the popularity he had in the days of the PDM?
I'll come back. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much. You are on to SMD calling from Kano.
SMD, you're welcome to the press.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me quickly appreciate your data and also appreciate KAFTAN TV for giving us this ample opportunity. So many news resonate with me, but let me, because of the time factor, let me go on the APC endorsement of His Excellency Agunloye Bola Tinubu. You see, that is the duty of democracy, and everybody is entitled to his own opinion. But to me, to my own understanding, this is a very good opportunity APC presented to opposition parties, meaning to sit together and then bring their strength towards right direction. At least maybe something will happen, or they can patch the catching wall. If you combine all the votes of 2022 election, you will see President Buhari almost get the votes, and then this time around, with this presentation of endorsement, believing me, if the oppositions are ready to do the needful, believing me, APC is down. Because you can't just see this is a collective endorsement, because in the party they must be agreed members. Definitely. Even though the party system says every governor is the leader, but how many governors consolidate with their party members in their state before they come up with this decision? How many of them? Did you ever have any council meeting or sitting between the governor and the stakeholders of the state of APC just to endorse His Excellency TINUBU? The answer is no. So you see, the lack of internal democracy.
All right. SMD.
Our political party. Yes, sir.
All right, SMD. All right, SMD.
So that's my point. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. So some of these points were already made.
Yeah.
When in the course
that's
of
very clear.
Yeah.
But the party has. This is where we want to go.
Yeah.
So it is for the opposition to decide how they want to go.
It's even, like he has said, it has a very great opportunity, and in good time, in good enough time,
for them to take their decisions,
to work and to see what they can do. Like he said, if you put together the votes, that's why some people still say that President TINUBU, even though he won as a minority winner, and that's what the way some people coin it. And because by the time you put Peter Obi's votes together with Atiku's votes, you come to about 13 million votes. Yet, not Abiola, TINUBU had 8 million plus votes. That would have been a clear 5 million or 4 million plus difference. But unfortunately, fortunately or fortunately, we are where we are. So
you get that on multi-party democracy. He's got above 33%.
No, he's saying.
I understand what you're saying. If the opposition had been in one house,
exactly,
we would have won.
Which is what SMD is also trying to do.
In 1979, Shagari had 31%.
Right.
If you add the vote of MPP and UPN together, they would have also defeated MPN. Remember that MPP had a very good show in Benue. They won Plateau. They won the Southeast. They had very good show in Lagos.
The difference here would be that in the case of UPN and the MPP that you talked about, they were distinct parties on their own from the very beginning. From when FEDECO registered parties, they were separate parties from the beginning. But I think what is stoking some of these arguments is the fact that ordinarily Peter Obi, Atiku all belong to the PDP stock until very shortly before the
Peter Obi came from ABGA to PDP before he goes into
Labour. We're talking about,
we also need to answer this call that if Peter Obi had remained in PDP,
that's the point.
Some of those who voted for him also will not have voted for the PDP.
True.
So let's be very clear about that. So as good as it is now, add their vote, but it's not that simple.
It's not
that simple. There were people who voted because it is him on the ballot. If it was Atiku, I know a lot of
there are several persons who
voted for him who would not have voted for the PDP. So as clear as possible, people wanted the third force at the time, and they saw Labour Party as the third force.
But don't forget, plus or minus, if you add those who will still vote because of the presence of Peter Obi on the ticket, even though he was not the flag bearer, even though he will not be the flag bearer in such a circumstance, and if you do the plus minus, there's still a very high likelihood that that ticket would have trounced. But it's in the realm of
theory or calculations. But the practical reality is some of those who would not have voted for Atiku would have voted for TINUBU. See, it's also not as simple. It's not as simple as I said some.
It's not a given.
I said some, right? Not all. Some would not have voted. I've seen election where a certain candidate had won, not because he was more popular, right? But because the people were angry with a different candidate. It was in the days of SDP and NRC. My environment was purely an NRC dominated environment at the time. But because a certain night chief supported a certain candidate, we just discovered that the candidate who was standing alone almost from SDP won the councillorship election. I wasn't old enough to vote, but I could ask questions around, and I realized that it was fighting the person who brought the candidate for NRC.
Who
was the reason they voted for the SDP candidate. They said that no, we won't allow you to have control over us. And so they went the other way. So basically, people can go in different directions.
Yeah, there are all kinds
so there are always all kinds of things and interest.
Yeah.
And that's why I would always say, if the alternative I would expect people to push is that if it has been a parliamentary system, most likely today, TINUBU wouldn't have been the prime minister or the head of government. Why? Because the other two parties, which were second and third at the time, and since APC couldn't form the absolute majority, the other two parties would have formed alliance, and they would have formed the government. And that is allowed anywhere in the world when it is a parliamentary system. So, and it tells us more and more, we are a parliamentary people, we want parliamentary ideals, but because of the rascality, in my opinion, that the American presidential system permits, we are staying there and we are rooting for it.
Have you seen this rascality you hint at? Have you seen it play out in the America where we copied it from?
Well, they have a more stable system where maybe the courts by the states could challenge a lot of things. Our system is not able to check those rascalities.
The point I'm trying to make, the point I would like us to see is that it's not the rascality that the system permits, it's the rascality that is inherent in us.
No, it is
because whether it is parliamentary,
there are structures to handle it better. In the American system where we are copying from, their structure and the rest, they have a legal system, they have patterns that have been developed, institutions that are strong enough to challenge certain things. Right. We have not grown those level of institution in our environment, and so the rascality can go unchecked.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Mazi. All right.
I'm not looking at the story about Ramaphosa and Trump.
But that's not what we're treating.
Hello?
But that's not what we're treating.
No, we are looking at the adoption now.
Yes.
Yes. The adoption is common for other political parties.
Okay.
And decide what they want. Because the situation whereby in a country like ours, over 200, 300, 400, and the same country, one certain system are not work here. Because there is something that everybody has priority.
All right.
Either you are rich or poor. So it's not really for the other political parties to put their house in order. What they have in order.
All right.
That's what you do want. Teacher of the other is about 3 years old.
All right. Oh my God. All right, Mazi. We would need to leave it here.
No, what he was saying is simple. He said the decision gives opportunity to other parties to start planning early. That's so clearly it's they didn't leave it till too late in time. That's so the other parties should get their hearts together.
Which records what SDF said.
That's the standard.
Said,
They have taken their decision early, so it's for the other people to also be able to take their decision early. And then it's an opportunity for him and his own people to see how they can convince the people with performance over the next 2 years. If they cannot, then it is sure that the people will show them the way.
Now, quickly before time runs out, the last story we were talking about, is that not a clear handwriting on the wall to Atiku as to what he should be involved in right now?
Well, for me, what do I want to see with the opposition? the opposition should not be looking at any candidate above the age of 60. If actually they want to drive the discussion, they want to move, they should go and shop for a candidate in the age bracket below 60 years.
What has that got to do after this call?
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Ebonyi State.
Yeah, your name is what?
My name is Mr. Fabian.
Mr. Fabian, you're welcome.
Okay.
Let's hear you.
Thank you. I also have to express my opinion based on the adoption of TINUBU for 2027. I think it's a wrong move for Nigerians because judging from what he has done for the past 2 years,
This is not Nigeria.
I don't think
it's about the party.
The activities of the parties have direct impact on Nigerians.
All right, okay.
And those politicians are equally Nigerians too.
All right, to that extent, okay.
Yeah. So for them coming up by these 2 years to declare that is their sole candidate for 2027, I think it's a failure on the part of the party. Because one, there's nothing clear, there is no project, there is no reason why such adoption should be made at this early stage. Are you talking about the educational system, or the security, or the poverty level in the country? So I don't see any reason why such should be done at this early stage.
All right, all right.
Because the APC.
All right, Mr. Fabian, why don't we leave it here now while you keep watching? I think that you know how they say that if you're not joined in a suit, I mean, I'm not illegal. You cannot make any claims, and you can't benefit. You cannot from it or something. So I think that for now, this has to do with members of the APC.
Yes.
If he is a member of the APC, then he can clearly make this kind of call, because it's a party thing for now.
It's a party decision. It's an internal arrangement.
It might affect Nigeria, but if you're going to correct it, it's within the party.
The party has taken decision. This is where we are going.
Exactly.
The people think they don't want the party. It is to show the party the way out of government.
Exactly.
So if people feel so, we don't have to blame them as a party for their decision. If their strategy is wrong, at the end of the day, they will see the result for themselves.
Exactly. So
they will see the result.
If on the basis, even if some of the people were rooting for the party before, but on the basis of this decision they are aggrieved, then it could show in what you have just said.
They can always move to a new party and wait with their ballot for the
So we're talking about Atiku and the handwriting on the wall.
So for me, of course, it's shown clearly that there are so many people who wouldn't want him to be. So if there will be a coalition, I don't think that would work for him. And of course, if we also go by it, by whatever agenda it's on ground, one of the reasons the 5 governors that opposed him in 2022, 2023 did was because they felt, look, as a party we have agreed that power should shift to the south.
Yes.
So by 2027, nothing has changed. The south should still produce the president.
True.
And Atiku not being so whether it is an Atiku or a Bukola Saraki or somebody from Benin, all of them are from the 3 geopolitical zones in the north. So they will not be qualified based on that internal arrangement of maybe their party.
Yeah.
So except they now move and they find any other party that feels that okay, it should be an open contest for all. But within the framework of the sentiment on ground, I think that if we go by the power shift, Atiku should stay away from contesting in 2027. However, he can do very good, in my opinion, in shopping across the north. to look for a beautiful young man, well-rounded, who he can present as the vice president in 2027, with the hope that by 2031,
vice president
yes,
to who?
To whoever come from the south.
Okay.
And then he can bring his entire team to work with that government, and then we hope that by 2031 that candidate can then represent the north.
I really think that at this point, I do not know, but I really think that the vice president should, former vice president, should try to exit himself from further diminution and self-deprecation, because with every, as it is, the PDP is not a platform he can use. He can't. It's not likely. And then the next party says no, and you can be sure that even the ADC that is being touted also is likely not to also want to go that way.
So at this point, Mustafa in the last 2 elections, right?
So all right. So this I don't know, but I think that this is really interesting, and somebody must take certain responsibility and be man enough to say, well, I think I've done my best. But hello. Oh no. So
you should still be visible.
Yes, like I said. Okay, hello, are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can hear you. Can hear you. Good morning. Okay. I guess there's a problem. Okay, it's gone. So, please.
You should be visible. You should work with others.
Nothing stops you from being visible.
Ensure that there is good governance in place. But he doesn't have to be a candidate in the next election. I think he has tried his best. He possibly started contesting presidential elections since 1993. He was a candidate in Jos.
Yeah.
He was SDP in Jos. I think he came third.
Yes.
So, and from that time till now, I think it's been around. So after over 30 years of being around, I think that he should have been able to show effectively for a younger person who he can transfer whatever trust that I think he has gotten to, so that we can be sure of continuity beyond now. So the issue of one-time lobbying, no. 2027 for me shouldn't be about Atiku and must not be about Atiku.
And again, when you now factor into that the rotational thing, the understanding in some of the parties, and that has become quite popular among Nigerians. And so your calls can still come in, and let's hear what you have to say concerning the topics that we have looked at. And then still talking about the
Adebayo.
Yes, the Adebayo.
Yeah, going back to Adebayo, I've listened to him. He's a fantastic person, but I also think that to an extent he seems to have seen himself, in my opinion, as a less qualified candidate than Peter Obi, from his own personal statement, because he's giving so much credit to Peter Obi. He's moving around, he's doing meetings, he's talking to the people, to the right people, and he's doing this and he's doing that. Great. But I think that to an extent he has promoted PU way ahead of himself.
Is there anything wrong with that? Let me take this call. Let me take this call. Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Hello?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Mr. TINUBU.
Okay, Chinedu, you're welcome.
Is it KAFTAN TV?
Correct.
Yes, please, I want to give you some words.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is that all this thing that is happening, the pension, all this thing, is that because Nigeria is not working. Nigeria is not working. Nigeria is not working. Because we don't have electoral value in this country. That is why all these governors are missing on, moving everywhere, up and back. See, let me tell you, if if we have good electoral system that is working, all these government, all these people that are moving around, they cannot make that. They cannot even occupy it. Because if we have free and fair election, they are moving up and down because Nigerian vote does not count.
All right.
They are moving to the issues because they know that that is where they will lead the election for them.
All right.
If Nigerian vote will count, let me tell you, by 9 o'clock, 2027, APC is gone. Whether it or not.
All right. So the bottom line.
APC. How many are there? It's Nigerian that is going to vote.
All right, Chinedu, thank you very much.
It's Nigerian that is going to vote. It's not all those people, all those. They are going to their stomach. Nigerians are suffering everywhere.
Okay.
Let me tell you, APC, they said no, it's that. They cannot win any free and fair election in this country.
All right, now we would need to because we have little or no time. Yeah, you were saying. So, is there something wrong with that?
Well, if you think he's a better candidate, there is no point waiting for further discussion. Join the train and queue behind him, rather than saying when the time to come, you can consider step. No, if you say it's a better candidate, then let the table be clean and let's know that we have less number of mouth to feed or less number of people to listen to, and let the crystallization commence with immediate
I don't
effect.
understand that.
No, you can't be championing SDP while you are promoting a candidate in another party.
Does that not? Is that not a way of saying that there are talks behind the scenes?
That's what I'm saying. So
to say maybe they are going to work together.
So if they are going to work together, tell the people from now. That's what we're saying.
Okay.
By 2013 or by 2011, that CPC.
2011?
Yes, by
okay.
2011, that CPC and ACN were going to work together was already clear. Very, very clear.
But the party was not registered until 2013.
They were not registered until 2013, but that they will work together.
Okay, was already
on the eve of election in 2011 had already been determined.
Okay.
So it wasn't. There was no hanky-panky. The idea was, okay, how do we go legalizing it? And by 2013, the party had been formed, building up to the 2015 election. So whatever they are doing now, I think that they need to begin to crystallize the talk rather than diverting attention and pretending. Now they need to know that the guys in APC are more core politicians than some of them in those other parties. Okay. And so you don't, so is Yorùbá is it something like that. But the reality is that whatever you are saying, whatever parable you are speaking, these guys understand it and they are there with you. So whatever you want to come up with it early. Don't leave the people confused and let know that the battle line is drawn. Going to that election, we're going to have 2 parties or we're going to have 3 parties and we're going to have that. And when you come to the issue of defection, unfortunately for me, I'm still trying to wrap myself around to understand why defection. But when you go to the Western House of Assembly, back in the days, Action Group had 38, NCNC had 25, Ibadan People Party had 6 or 7, Otuedo had 3. What you would have expected was, okay, these people who are 38 will either get this 7 or this 6 and form alliance, and then they will form the government. But what we had in the end is 1 defected to NCNC, 6 defected to Action Group, and for me it should have been, you have your party and there is the provision for alliance to form government. You would have formed alliance than jettisoning the party on the ground for which you were elected at the time.
Right.
To join. Right. So defection is as old as our politics.
We just got to go. We just got to go. It's usually a very wonderful time every single time Ben is here. I believe that you can testify to that. Thank you so very much, Ben. Thank you. And especially because this time around, I reached you at very short notice. I really do appreciate this. Thank you. And let me say thank you to the production team, wonderful people. I thank you. And my listeners, big thanks to all of you out there, millions of you out there. We thank you for your focus on the station. And please do not lose focus, because much more is coming. By 2:30, for example, 2 o'clock to 3:30, Macaulay will be here on the polity. And in the evening, there will be Matters Rising also. And aside from that, there are a host of several other programs for your viewing pleasure. Don't leave KAFTAN TV. Tell others about the wonders happening at KAFTAN TV. And at this point, my name is Dayo Omoogun, and it's bye for now.